like an astronomical amount of rain.
And the temperatures have dropped.
And the
down.
temperatures have dropped significantly.
And the
hence
time has changed.
Yeah. I'm Desmond.
And I'm Sandy.
And we left behind the city to move to property that we purchased in Northern Ontario.
And along the way we picked up our dog Remy and our cat Pollock.
Join us on our daily ups and downs as we build an off-grid life together in Northern Ontario. Hey everyone, so it has actually been a month since we posted a video, which is quite unusual for us.
Yes.
Usually we're a lot more in your face, I guess is the word. But I mean, really, we sort of got to a point where it's like we are not doing anything really different.
Yeah.
There are a couple of things that we're doing different, but really we don't want to just show you guys the same thing over and over and over again. So so we haven't really been filming and being engaged as much as we should have,
yes.
I guess. But we're still here. We're still doing our thing. We will talk about some of the stuff that we've encountered over the month.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is, we talked about this before in the previous video, how much rain we've had.
Yeah.
Like an astronomical amount of rain.
And the temperatures have dropped.
And the temperatures have dropped significantly.
And the time has changed.
Yeah. It's already after sunset.
Yeah.
As we're recording this. So that's a bit frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it means that, you sort of really get into stuff. And then, okay, well now it's sunset and we have to sort of stop and things like that. And so that's been a bit frustrating for us.
But yeah, there has been a lot of rain and it's given a bit of trouble here because as you've seen in previous videos, we've been working on the corduroy road, and it was sort of laid out for the really bad patches. We weren't thinking we'll have to do the whole thing or whatever, and I mean we don't have to do the whole thing, but the areas that we had covered suddenly kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and so now we're waiting till it gets
and I mean,
cold.
as you can see from the footage that I'll drop over here, it's a considerable amount of space to go through, and also quite deep. I mean, in some places,
in some spots,
it's halfway up your shin, kind of deep. So that's really frustrating. So what it means is that, I mean, just the corduroy road right now is not going to be sufficient to move the camper. And so we have we've been collecting pallets. So very graciously, a local friend found someone who had a bunch of pallets, and we've been moving those in. And unfortunately, because we can't drive them in, they were left at the road, and someone has been very bravely, one at a time, schlepping them in. And
some of them aren't too bad.
Yeah.
Some of them are sort of lightweight, but some of them are really quite heavy.
They're hefty, hefty.
And I mean, not a big deal for moving like a little patch, but it's almost 1,000 feet walking, right? Like,
yeah, it's a long distance, and I mean it's a long distance over difficult ground.
Yeah.
So and so he's moved 40 pallets in, plus ones that we already had, and we're still trying to get some more. So they will be the basis of what we're going to be constructing in there. So, I mean, part of the process is pulling these skids apart, not all of them, but some of them, and some of them not completely. We're leaving some sort of structural ones that we know we've got the ends of, and we can just sort of fill with planks as we go, to basically make a floor and everything like that. The downside is, of course, is that with the inclement weather and with so much rain, and not being able to move the camper in place, we actually can't start construction. We can't actually fully build anything. We can build pieces and things like that. One of the other things that we did on the property a couple of weeks ago was we actually set up a very sort of makeshift wood storage area, just using cling wrap, pallet wrap, around some trees with a tarp over it. And I've now changed the roof 3 times.
Yes.
But this last time seems to be working quite well. And basically that there is for just some of the wood storage that we have in the property. And so that's that took a bit of time.
Yeah.
But we've got quite a nice big area there. And after the rain, there was still quite a lot of sort of wet patches there. So we're going to have to address that as well. But they're nothing like the trail. The trail is like it's I don't even have the words of how frustrating it is with so many muddy areas.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It really is.
And did we say how we're waiting for the ground to sort of freeze?
No, I was sort of getting there.
Okay.
I think I was. I lost my train of thought, derailed. But yeah, so I mean, the game plan now is that we are going to continue to prep stuff in the property, continue to take skids apart and have them ready to go, as well as moving everything that's extraneous, that's not in the camper or required in the camper, into a spot on the property, so that it is there and it's safe and it's basically ready, so that when we do get in there, it's right there. And that means we're actually going to wait for the ground to freeze, and not just like a light freeze. It has to be pretty solid. If we get snow and ice, I mean, much as I hate to say that, because I'm not looking forward to snow and ice, but it could be the best thing for us, because it will actually mean we can drive in there and get the camper in there. But we really do have to wait for it to freeze pretty solid. So that's really frustrating. Other things that have been on the go, I'm trying to think.
We got all our food for the winter.
We got all our food for the winter. It is all here, and
almost all of it. We got a couple more things to pick up, but for the most part, we have everything.
That was
stacked over there.
Yeah, there's piles and piles and piles of canned goods and things like that. We are starting to run out of time. We've mentioned this before. We are already starting to run out of time where we will be able to access town. So for those of you that were asking, if you're going to be mailing anything, please mail it soon. And please let us know that you've mailed something, and how, because if we don't know, we won't be able to pick it up pretty soon. I should imagine by the beginning of December, maybe even the end of this month, depending on the snow forecast, we may not be able to get out that soon. So some of the other things, this coming week, we'll be getting a load of firewood that we have ordered, and so that'll be arriving, and unfortunately, similar to the skids, we will be having to manually sort of drag it in there, one wheelbarrow, one box, or whatever it is at a time. And just purely because while we do have wood on the property, we know that we just don't have enough. And next season we'll be even better prepared, and so on and so forth. But this season we just absolutely do not have the time to stop what we're doing, trying to get in there, to cut more firewood and find more firewood and season it and all that kind of stuff. So that's been a bit frustrating that we were having to spend that money. But we've been very, very fortunate with people that have financially supported us, which brings me to GoFundMe. So we set up a GoFundMe just to help with some of these winter expenses and building expenses. We were able now to buy what's 5 cords of wood, which is a decent amount. Ideally, we wanted 10, but
we'll cut the rest.
We'll cut the rest if we have to. We hope that that's sufficient.
Yeah.
And augmented with what we have already. But we do have a GoFundMe, which is there basically to help with some of the winter prep, some of the extra stuff we need. Some things that we're still trying to source really cheaply are things like insulation.
Yeah.
I'm less worried about the insulation than draft, but obviously insulation is huge because if we're not trying to fight the cold leaving the structure, we obviously won't use as much wood and so on and so forth. So if you're able to, that GoFundMe link is down below in the comments, the description of this video. So please, if you can help in any way, no matter how small, go ahead. And of course, you can always support by any of the standard methods we have, like PayPal and e-transfer if you're in Canada. So also a reminder that we do have a Patreon set up. And if you want to subscribe on Patreon, that helps us with our monthly expenses. And Patreon members actually receive a lot of videos and footage and photographs, as well as sort of some behind the scenes stuff that we don't post anywhere else except on Patreon. And every one of those contributions on a monthly basis helps us towards our sort of very basic monthly expenses. So we will try and be a bit more engaged and posting in the next couple of weeks as things get colder here. We have had little dustings of snow, but we're hoping that we won't have too much in the near future. But again, the ground freezing would be a really helpful thing for us at this point. Our only concerns right now is sort of staying warm and making sure that we can get in there and get our structure built relatively quickly before the major snow flies. So thank you again for everyone who does and has supported us so much. We truly do appreciate it so very much. And every cent does help and go towards just basically helping us out and keeping us going on a day-to-day basis. So if you enjoyed the video, please remember to hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when we post our next video. We really do appreciate all the comments and questions that you guys have for us. It does help us a lot. We'll probably try and organize a live in the next month or so as well. So thanks so much for watching, everybody, and until the next video.